Welcome to Behind the Sign, Season 1, Episode 5. Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us again here at Collab-Works. We have a fabulous guest with us today, and you're all going to know what his business is as soon as you see him because, one, he has one of those unforgettable faces, and two, I bet you've eaten breakfast here. So welcome to today's show. I think we've got some interesting content for you. We're going to tell you all about his life and let him tell us some things we don't know. Sherry's here with me as co-host. Good morning, Sherry.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
All right. Shall we do the big reveal?
Let's do it.
All right. Today's guest is
Korey
Vazquez from Gold Rush. Good morning, Korey.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We can't wait to tell your story.
I cannot wait to share.
We know all about Gold Rush and the wonderful food and the lines that you got to beat to get there before breakfast.
That's true.
Been there, done that many times. But we don't know a whole lot about you. So we'd like to start with kind of maybe your beginnings and your journey to get here where you are today.
So my culinary history would start when I was a kid. I would go stay at a friend's house, or I'd be at a neighbor's, and they would be eating dinner, and they'd be like, "Hey, do you want to stay for dinner?" And I was like, "Okay, cool, yeah." So I called my mom. She's like, "Yeah, it's fine." And then I would eat their food, and I was like, "What is this? This tastes amazing." I'm like, "This is a pork chop," and I'm like, "No, this isn't a pork chop," because bless her heart, my mom uses salt and pepper. So I never had really seasoned food, and I loved it. I'm like, wow, food can taste this good. And so I started doing a little bit more research. And as time went on, I started going behind her back and tweaking stuff. Like she would make soup, in which I like a good soup. Well, I did the research, and if you put a bay leaf in it, some wine, some chicken broth or beef broth, it can enhance it. Because she always used the old soup bone. I don't know if you've ever seen the actual old soup bones. That's how she flavored her soups. So I tweaked it one day. And
how old were you when you started doing this?
13, 14.
Okay.
And I remember going in the kitchen. I added that stuff to it. And then I sat back down, went back in the living room, said, I watch TV. And then she went in there to check it, I guess. And she yelled my name, Korey. And I was like, oh, God, what happened? I'm like, she's like, come here. So I go in there. I'm like, yeah. She's like, what'd you do? I'm like, well, I did some research. And if you add bay leaf and this, and this, she's like, well, this is really good. And I was looking at just making something flavorful. Mm-hmm. She said she was making soup, and I was trying to make stew. So she calls it stoop. So my she's very creative like that with crazy words. Like she can't say Chick-fil-A, it's Chick-O-Lay. And hors d'oeuvres or Ori-Dories. So
nice.
Yeah, she's just.
So do you carry on that? I
don't do that tradition. I more do quesadillas. I'll say that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Or my favorite, which it always gets an eye roll from my girlfriend, is if we go somewhere and order a salad. I love a Kaiser salad. And I've only had one server ever get it, be like, oh, Caesar, I got you.
Oh,
see?
Yes. See, I saw that.
Kaiser
What's
salad.
a Kaiser salad?
Most people say, what is a Kaiser salad? But then I had one girl was like, Caesar, I got you. And I'm like, oh, you're good. So
Awesome. What about a quiche?
Ooh,
Add a little
French
there, a little quiche. Had a girlfriend in college call it quiche. And she thought that's really wonderful. I'll have the quiche. And the waitress said, do you mean the quiche? So that was always the running joke.
Yeah,
so the soups. It all started with soup.
And then after that, I just did more research and I'd say, hey, Mom, give me this and this for ingredients, and I would make stuff. And I made one, and I have a friend out there. His name's Jeremy. I worked with him I think it was at Blockbuster years and years ago. And so he come over to the house one night, and I was making chicken wings, and I found this recipe, and I always tweak it. And the secret I've learned, if you want to improve a recipe, I never did this, and I had this lady teach me. You make the recipe as it says, word for word, and then after that, you taste it, and then you go back and decide to tweak stuff and then make it new. I'm stubborn and like to skip steps, which isn't always the best. And I would see it, and I would be like, you know what? I think it'd be better if we take this out and add this and do this to it. And then I would create it, and it would work, but I wouldn't write it down. so then I would lose it. So I've lost. It's been 21 years. And to this day, every time he sees me, he's like, I can still taste those hot wings.
I
Oh,
was
wow.
wondering about that when you were talking about these recipes. Were you finding these recipes online, or are you one of these cookbook nerds?
I would find them online.
Okay.
I hope the cookbook people don't take offense.
No, I'm a cookbook nerd now.
Joking.
No, I'm amazed at the number of people that's what they read are cookbooks.
I'm just kidding.
I'm a cookbook nerd.
It would work for me because they're short chapters, you know.
I always tell people, if you want to get me a present, I want the spiral bound
Yes.
homemakers from the 80s cookbooks.
What about the old Betty Crockers and some of those?
Those are okay, but I found family recipes. They'll use
church
those.
books.
The church books are the ones I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But sometimes they'll take those Betty Crocker ones and they'll tweak it.
Yeah.
And so you'll get a real recipe, as I call it. Because, I mean, the commercially produced ones, they're not bad, but I want something different. I want something that's...
Or buy them at a yard sale where people have put their sort of secrets. My mom always held one that she didn't ever write that was always in her head. So just so you couldn't actually make exactly what she did.
I have one recipe like that. I make a cheesy chicken tortilla soup that I have been working on and perfected now over 25 years. And I do it at the restaurant occasionally. So we will probably have it this fall again, because when I do it, people seem to love it, which it's my favorite.
Oh, so you run it as a special.
We'll do it probably for a couple months through the cold season, because it's cheese. I mean, everyone knows what chicken tortilla soup is, but this is a cheese base, so it's a little bit thicker.
Right.
And then, which I think for me, any soup or chili needs club crackers, because the butteriness of the cracker complements the food. I think it makes it taste better personally. Because to me, saltines are just bland. Bland. I want flavor. Everything I have to do has that flavor. So
Yeah.
and that's
which is obvious. So I want to back us up a little bit. So 14, 15, start messing with the soups. Where do we go from there?
it kind of ignited a flame in me. So I just, like I said, I would create recipes, do research, tweak, make things. I didn't really do much of anything with that other than just,
You grew up in Graves County.
grew up in Graves County.
Behind the Sign is brought to you by L.A. Miller and Associates, your partner in small business growth. From accounting to strategy, their team is here to guide you every step of the way. L.A. Miller and Associates, because your success is their business.
So I was going to school at Murray to be a pediatrician. My mom's a nurse, so I grew up in the medical field. I grew up in nursing homes, helping people, volunteering. Mom's always, teaching me medical stuff, and I'd ask questions. I'm always very inquisitive. And I started going to Murray, but no one told me, and I think this is something that you start teaching in high school, that 24 hours, college hours, is a lot.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that, so I took 24 college hours. And I even had
Wait a minute. Are you saying you took 24
one
college
semester?
hours in
one semester.
I'm
Because
surprised that an advisor would let
they
you
let
do
me.
this.
That's the
Shocks
thing.
me.
Well,
What?
They're
Because
going cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Hey, he's going to sign up. I'll take his check.
advisor, and remember, it was a British man who taught English. He's like, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" And I'm like, "That's what I think." He's like, "All right, then you're good to go." And I'm like, my first job, actually, I was a soda jerk.
Okay, let's hear.
So,
What?
you know what a soda jerk is?
No.
I have no
Okay,
idea.
It's an old person thing. Like, this is from like the 30s and 40s. You go into a pharmacy and they have a place in the back, and they had a soda fountain jerk. That's what they called him.
Yeah.
That would make sodas. Well, in Mayfield, Duncan Prescription Center used to have with the
The
first
drugstores
The drugstores,
had
yeah.
Oh.
the fountain. Yeah, okay. But I didn't know I didn't even know that was a thing, a soda jerk.
Well, it wasn't. He was the first one to open one in 30 plus years in Graves County.
Okay. Behind the Sign is sponsored by L.A. Miller and Associates and the All-Star Team, supporting small business with numbers, strategy, and partnership that fuel growth.
Well, I was like, all right, I'm going to go to Colorado. My sister lived there, visited 3 times, loved it. I've traveled
Beautiful.
by.
It is
Oh,
beautiful country.
it's awesome. First time I went by bus. Second time I went by train. And the third time I drove.
Oh, nice.
took all the ways to travel. I highly recommend train travel if you've never done it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I met some great people.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the most impactful moments of my life happened on that train, because it's a few people get up and leave, and this one woman sitting by herself. She goes, "Come over here, sit next to me and talk." So I sit next to her. After we got done talking, she had to get off at Champaign, Illinois, and she looked at me. She's like, "You know what, Korey? I know I just met you, but you have a really good head on your shoulders. You're going to do something in this world, in this life, or whatever." And I'm like, "Well, thank you." And it felt amazing to have someone I didn't even know, a complete stranger I just met and talked to for like an hour or 2 hours, and to tell me that was more reassuring than having, people around you always saying, "Oh, you're doing a good job. You're doing good."
It was like a message.
Yeah.
That's how you look at it. And I was like, wow, I am doing all right. I need to not be so negative and bad on my, treat my negative self-talk, which is horrible.
Yeah.
And so even to this day, there's times when I feel a little bit overwhelmed or something. I think about that. I'm like, dude, I had it together. If a strange lady told me I had it together when I was like 19, 20, 21, then I can do this.
Yeah, that sounds like a real pivot moment in your life where you learned to look at the other side of the negative, like start to turn everything around for good. So in Colorado, you carry that in with you. And what do you do in Colorado?
When I first got there, I was a school photographer. So I was that guy that would come in on school picture day. I got a job. I also worked at the same time, worked at Chuck E. Cheese just because I had to make ends meet. First Indian food I ever had was there, Ethiopian. I mean, they have authentic. I worked with a guy who owned a restaurant. He kind of gave me a lot of insight. His name was Nabil, and he was Persian, I think.
Wow.
But he had a restaurant, and I worked with him of all places, at Home Depot. And he had a restaurant downtown, kind of like our downtown. It was a nice sit-down restaurant. Then he had one in the mall that was like hot, corn dogs and stuff like that. And he said the most lucrative business was his the hot dog or the corn dog business.
No kidding.
Because turnover, he goes, you got to think about it. He goes, whenever you have a nice sit-down restaurant, people are going to sit there. They're going to eat. They're going to drink. They're going to take their time to sit there. But if you got people going in and out, you got turnover. That's where your money comes from. In a business, you want people moving. And I was like, I never thought of that. So that's always been in the back of my mind. Like, I want to make a business to where we turn tables. I want you to feel welcome and invited, but at the same time, I don't want you staying there forever because, and people may not realize this, we call them campers.
That just sit?
That when you come in a restaurant and you sit there and drink a cup of coffee for 2 hours. We call them campers because you're camping there.
Behind the Sign is sponsored by L.A. Miller and Associates and their all-star team. Neighbors, partners, and cheerleaders for small businesses, helping you grow every step of the way. So let's get back to it. So Colorado, was that?
So I was there for
2008. Yes.
Culinary?
Yeah, so that's the culinary school come in while I was working at the catering business. I'm like, this, I love this. This is what I wanted to do. So the chef there, his name was Warren. I'll never forget this guy. Most chefs are, and he's a chef. He went to culinary school. He's trained all this. Are kind of gruff, and he was, but he was super nice to me. Like, we just click.
All I can think of is Chef Ramsay.
Yes.
So that's when. Did you know he was actually a football player?
No, I
And he
didn't
got
know.
injured, and then he decided to start cooking, and that's how he became a chef.
Fun fact.
Yeah,
He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, and it's weird. He was a rugby or whatever they have over there, and he got injured and started cooking. That's how. So he didn't even start out the same way. And Alton Brown, he never started out. Alton Brown was a video nerd. He loved cameras and stuff, and so he went to school for that, and he loved it. He's like, well, I'm gonna make a cooking show. So he had to go back to culinary school to learn the basics, and that's all he did was basically took what he learned from school, recorded it all, and teach us all how to cook.
Wow.
So Alton Brown was a big influence on me too, because I loved the science behind the cooking.
Right.
So in Colorado, worked at catering business, loved it. I want to go to culinary school. Well, I don't like I said, I don't half-ass anything. I whole-ass it. So I looked up the best culinary school in the nation, did all my research, and it is the CIA, not that one.
As in the government CIA. Are you telling us a secret right now?
I always like to say that and give a pause because then I can see people's wheels turning. It's the Culinary Institute of America.
All right. Makes sense. CIA for the acronym. Gotcha.
Yes, so people always say.
We'll go with that.
Yes. So I have this is how strict this school was. You have to do an essay. You have to You have to do a blood sample.
Is this to get in?
Just to get in.
Okay.
wow.
Yeah.
Just to get
Well,
accepted.
but culinary school, blood sample makes sense.
I'm not finished.
Okay.
Blood sample, urine sample, stool sample.
Oh,
And I was like, I'd even asked, I said, why do I have to do all this at the school? And they're like, you're dealing with people's food, parasites and stuff. And I'm like,
oh,
Sure.
I had no idea. Now that made me scared. I'm like, man, I hope everybody else is getting stool samples done in other places. I don't be getting parasites. So just know Gold Rush, we don't stool sample you or staff, but trust me, you're parasite free. So did all the stuff to get in, and I got accepted. And so I was living in Colorado. I was like, all right, this is, this is what I want to do. So I was like, all right, I'm moving back to Kentucky because I was in Colorado, moved back to Kentucky because it's in Hyde Park, New York is where I'm going to go to school. So come back here, put everything in storage. Told my mom, you got to take care of my dog. This is my child.
So you're back home. Your stuff's in storage. You're
Stuff's-
living with mom
Living with mom
and the dog.
and my child.
and you've gone
or
through all the
baby.
tests.
Yep, got accepted. Everything's good. So now I'm working on getting my financing, getting loans and
Yeah.
grants and all that stuff. Applying for all this. Well, then I ended up meeting this girl. Not meeting her, reintroduced this girl I knew in high school. I had a crush on her back then, and she was going through a divorce, and we ended up meeting up at a mutual friend's house, and we started talking, and we just kind of clicked. And I was like, oh wow, and told her like I always thought she was cute, I had a crush on her, and so we ended up dating. And I was like, look, I'm going to culinary school here, and she was like, all right, I'll go with you. And at the last minute, she backed out. She's like, I can't leave my family and all this. And I'm like, yeah, but we're coming back. And she's like, I just can't do it. And I said, okay, that's fine. And then I'm like, because I believe in true love. Sorry. I gave up my dream to stay here. I chose. I keep saying that. She didn't make me.
Your life would be different if that hadn't happened, though.
Everything
right?
happens for a reason.
That's right. Yeah, so you've jumped around.
I have. Yeah, I've had.
You've
random
learned a
jobs.
lot of customer service.
That's a huge part of it. Yeah.
Huge part. You've learned about food. You've learned about love.
Yep. And I was a manager at Family Video. So I've gotten some experience
Yeah.
in managing people and all this.
Just figuring out how to deal with the public. It's so hard.
Oh, it is. It did. And I remember I had this one lady when I worked at, I think it was at Family Video. And she was start coming yelling just about some movie or something. And I stayed calm. She called me everything but a good Christian boy. And I just stayed calm the whole time. And when she was like, well, let me fix it for you. We get it taken care of. And she's like, I am so sorry. I was acting like a complete see you next Tuesday. And I cannot believe that. And that's not who I am. I'm sorry. And I'm like, ma'am, it's okay. I understand sometimes we can't control our emotions. It's fine. You're fine. It's okay. I'm not going to, no one's perfect. No one's perfect. So
Good real world experience for where you're going.
exactly. It's weird. Exactly. Because it's a lot of, angry people I had to deal with. And then ended up getting married
Okay.
and stayed here
Yeah.
and was looking around. Like I want to do what I want, I want to do my dreams.
Did you, or are you still, are you starting to feel like a nagging? Because I kind of feel like you're jumping around. I'm hearing the stories, jumping around, doing different things, still trying to find out where you're going, what you're doing. Like nothing is satisfying that little nag.
I learned something. Once I learn it, I get bored with it. I want to do something else. I learned how to do this.
So at what point so where are we? I don't want to jump ahead in the story,
now
but
I'm married and I'm working at a personal care home as the maintenance guy.
okay.
And they have a kitchen there because they have 140 residents. And so I'd always talk to people in the kitchen because I love cooking. I'll talk to them about stuff. Well, then the cook got sick one day and they said needed some help. So I cooked that day. And so they had, you know what? The residents loved it. I was a patient, the residents, they lived there. They loved it. Like, my God, Korey, this is really good. And it's because I actually would season it.
Oh,
Which is sad. I know. That's what I'm like. And because the cook was your typical lunchroom cafeteria lady. The old school with the hairnet and the cigarette
exactly
out her mouth.
what
Like
we're
that.
picturing.
It's how she was. I loved her. She was rough, but she's sweet. Like
So were you cooking there or were you in
Both.
maintenance?
both.
Okay, so you're getting the maintenance skills now that you're going to need because stuff in a restaurant's going to break down
Yes.
lots. So you're getting that and more cooking
Learned wire,
and more
plumbing,
working with people.
food, and yes, residents, and then we get upset and conflict resolution. That reminds me of one time I was there doing coffee break, because when you're the cook, you have to do coffee break twice a day, and doing coffee break, and these two guys, which this is a personal care home, which means it's people who need very minimal assistance. So a lot of them are mentally challenged or physically unable to do certain things. And so two of these men just start yelling, start arguing. And I guess this is before I had a kid, but my dad voice kicked in and they were just yelling. I go, hey. I went, hey. And when I did the third time, the whole building got quiet. Some lady come out of the nurse's station, looked at me. The guy on the television stopped and looked at me. And then they just said, I'm sorry. And I said, you put your shirt on, go back over there. You hush and just drink your coffee. Diffuse the situation. So that's when I learned to have a dad voice, which I love.
Awesome.
Conflict resolution. Hey, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
The dad, hey. And
You actually have a really good
Yeah, you really do.
voice for that.
and it's probably my dad did too.
I caught myself like, what?
And so yeah, that's why I started culinary, working there, doing that. Well, then on Christmas Day, 4 years after I was married, Christmas, I think it was 15, my wife left. Said she don't want to be married anymore.
It's a pretty crappy gift.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, that's right.
So she left, destroyed me, of course, as it would. I stayed. The divorce was final March 2nd. I stayed there until about April, May at the personal care home. I was like, you know what, I need something else. Terminex said, because they actually came, because I had them do pest control at the personal care home, and I got myself licensed to spray, and they were like, "You're really good at this. You took the initiative. Like, you want to come work for us?" And I was like, "Yeah, I get company vehicle, decent insurance." I'm like, "All right." So I went to work for Terminex. I'm here to Hopkinsville every day, spray a certain area, come back, and so I got to meet these people. And after going there for a couple of years, you get to know them. I see people's homes, I see the inside, I see a lot of things, and I met this sweet older lady whose husband was a pastor, and he had died a year or two before from kidney failure. And so we'd come in and we would talk. She's like, "Well, what's going on?" I'll tell her, and I'm very transparent. I was like, "Yeah, I just went through a divorce," because I don't know. I just don't like lying, and I just like being upfront. And so I was going through divorce and doing a struggle. She's like, "It's okay, honey. God still loves you." This, and I'm like, "Well, I feel like I have a scarlet D because I don't believe in divorce. I didn't want the divorce, but it just happens. Like in Kentucky, people divorce you for any reason." And so she's like, "Don't worry about it, honey. It's okay." And she would give me a scripture or whatever, and I'd read it. And then God intervened. Somehow somebody else would say something similar to it a couple of days later. Yeah. And so one day I was spraying this big church in Katie's, and I'd been spraying it for, months and months. But one time something told me, go talk to the pastor. So I'm sitting there spraying. I go in. I'm like, "Hey, can I talk to you for a second?" He's like, it's about your work." He's like, "Okay." He's like, "I don't know nothing about bugs." I'm like, "Oh, you're funny." But anyway, so we sit down, and I'm like, "Look, I just want to ask you something." I said, "I'm going through this." I said, "I feel compelled to talk to you. Going through this. I feel like I have a scarlet D, one divorce, whatever." He's like, "Look, as long as you did everything you could, stop beating yourself up. You don't have to answer. You'll have to answer for what you did, not what she did. Just let it. Just basically, almost said, kind of let it go. Like you're okay." And so that was more of a reassuring, like, "Okay, I'm doing good." And then people I would meet, my customers and stuff, they started giving me like quotes and stuff. And so I started getting big into quotes and not self-help books, but inspirational stuff.
Just encouragement.
Yeah. So I started looking at positive things. So on Facebook, I started following positive pages, uplifting, encouraging statements. And one of my favorites that has helped me, I have two favorites. My first one is, if you are depressed and sad, you are literally living in the past.
Yes.
Because you're thinking about things that's already happened, nothing you can do, nothing you can change. If you're anxious and nervous, you're living in the future, thinking about what could be and all this. But it never comes to fruition 99.9% of the time. You need to be in the present. The only thing you can control and you can like actually process and deal with. And so that helped a lot. And then the other one that happened that just someone told me was that I love, and I still tell people this every day. You cannot control what happens to you, but you can control how you react.
True.
And that's been the biggest thing for me is when things happen to me, instead of reacting, because it's our instinct to do it, you take a moment to breathe. And then when you're calm, you're more logical and you're more reasoning. You can solve almost any problem.
Yeah, so you needed all of this and all of this encouragement, these people in your life. I'm going to go out on a limb and say you also probably needed the long drive because you're processing what is a trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're still building the Korey that's sitting here today. So move us on in the journey. Where does this go next?
So worked at Terminex for 4 years. And along the way, like I said, 5 years, I worked there for 5. And along the way, talked to people about food. But a tons of mixed recipes and people cooking food. And one time I went to this house here in Paducah. Because the last 3 years I was here in Paducah Spring. And this is where I met a lot of people. And I believe God puts you where he needs to be when you need to be. Fast forward, we get to 2020. And I wake up one day to some text message from some Facebook notification. Somebody replied to one of my reviews on Facebook for Gold Rush. And I was like, what is this? And so, and my friend, a good close friend of mine, she was like, hey, you hear about Gold Rush? I was like, yeah. She's like, you should see about buying it. You've always wanted a restaurant. This could be it. And I'm like, I met it because of my cousin Chris. I've driven past there, but it closes at 2 every day. So when I drive by, I'll be like, it's always closed.
Oh.
And they used to have that old painting. They paint Gold Rush and had a pickaxe on the outside windows. And I was like, what is that? I thought it was a pawn shop because it was tinted windows, always closed. I was like, that's weird. Went to my cousin Chris, took me 7 years ago. He's like, you can eat at Gold Rush. I'm like, really? So I went there, had the bread pudding waffle and the Scotch egg.
Of course.
And I was hooked. That was it. I was like, it's my favorite place. And so I would go at least minimum once a month. Ask if he's willing to sell Gold Rush because I'm kind of interested in possibly buying it. A couple of days later, she's like, yes, he's interested. Well, he said he'll meet you. You have to come to his other restaurant, park in the back and all this stuff. And I'm like, of course.
Park in the back.
Yeah.
It's all because, hey, you did go to the CIA.
I mean, that's true. I had to stay hidden. People can't know all my businesses.
That's right.
See, I'm probably going to be snuffed out after this airs because I may have said too much, but you know what? At least it's out there. And so while we're talking the first time, he's like, yeah, you got to move quick because
there was a situation.
The landlord's, which everyone knows this. If you don't know it, you can look it up. I'm very transparent. I don't give a crap. It's not me. But he was getting kicked out by the end of the month. The landlord said, I'm done. Yeah,
so you're on a tight timeline.
I am. And I'm like, he's like, well, what's the landlord's name? And he tells me the landlord's name. And I'm like, okay. But got out to my car and I was like, all right, this is the name of the guy, the landlord. So I pull out my work phone. Whose number do I have? The landlord's. So I do.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, hey. Yeah, I was like, hey, hey, Korey, how you do? Good. Hey, I'm looking to buy Gold Rush. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, I'm about to kick his ass to the street. And I'm like, well, he goes, but I'll wait. He goes, I like you. He's like, if you don't get it, though, you got to tell me immediately. I'm putting him out on the street. And I'm like, yes, sir. I'll let you know. I got off the phone with him, and then I started calling lawyers because I don't know the first thing about any of this. And that's what I learned after my divorce is I humbled myself. Know your place.
Right.
Know your role. What you do. If you can't do something, find a professional.
Behind the Sign is proudly sponsored by L.A. Miller & Associates, your trusted partner in small business growth. For more than 30 years, L.A. Miller has been helping entrepreneurs not just balance their books, but build the business of their dreams. From accounting and tax strategy to consulting and coaching, their team understands that numbers are only part of the story. The real story is your growth. Whether you're just opening your doors or scaling to the next level, L.A. Miller & Associates stands beside you with the expertise, tools, and personal guidance you need to succeed. Because at L.A. Miller, supporting small business isn't just what they do, it's who they are. L.A. Miller & Associates, your partner in growth, your partner in business.
So immediately called around, found lawyers, found a great lawyer. He'll get me my business license, everything done.
Right.
Then went to my accountant, said, all right, well, can I do this? She's like, yes, it's doable. So now to go to financial institutions. And I, like you said earlier, during a pandemic, because this was in May and June of 2020. So
Yeah,
right
and
in
I
the
think it
heart
hit
of
us in March, so you're kind of at that range. It's still lots of
people,
unknowns. It was getting crazy.
masks everywhere and all that kind of stuff. And I went to my bank that I go to. They told me no.
Okay, and so this is going to be really interesting because one of the things that we like to do here is those no's are hard, especially if it's coming from your personal bank. But you have a dream, you can see it, you can feel it. You know that your whole life has been ramping up to this, and you're told no at your bank.
Yeah. You would think the bank you've been with for years. So they told me no. Went to my old bank I had years ago. They told me no. Have friends that work at banks, made connections again working for Terminex. They said, oh, wait, come back. We think we can do it. So then they told me no again.
All right, so you got 3.
And
You're
then
working on your resilience.
And then, this other bank. So what I started doing, and this is what I tell anyone if you want to do anything, you don't just stick with one bank. You go to multiples at the same time. So copy the papers, one here, one here. Once this bank says no, bring it to the next bank to tell you yes or no. Right. When this one says no, take it to the next bank. Mm-hmm. So I had been told no 4 times already, and I had to go to U.S. Bank to pick up my paperwork to take to the next one. I was going to CFSB, and I was driving in front of Noble Park, and my Jeep, which is my baby, and we're in the 2 lanes heading toward Noble Park. Mm-hmm. Well, I start going, and as I'm going, this girl comes out of either Sonic or that road and doesn't get in the median. She just comes straight over, hits me in the rear end, spins my Jeep around. My wheel almost falls off. I have the top off. I'm like, ugh! And I'm like, I stop, and I'm sitting there,
Oh my gosh,
facing the wrong direction, smoke coming back of my Jeep, which is my baby. And I'm like, that car is smoking in the middle of the lane. I'm like, and these kids come running out. Are you okay? Don't call the cops. Don't call the cops. I'm like, just go away. And so then first thing I did was called the cops, said, hey, we had a wreck. No one's injured. I don't think. Come here.
And this was on your way to a bank.
Onto the bank. So then
you're really being tested. How bad do you want this?
And so that's exactly what I thought. In that moment, I sit there facing the wrong direction, looking at this. I'm like, is this God telling me no?
Is this the red light?
Is this God saying, you know what? Stop. This isn't meant for you. I mean, this is because that Jeep was my baby. I haven't bought myself anything nice. That was the first nice thing I ever bought myself.
Yeah.
And now here it is, almost totaled. This God's saying stop.
And you're being told no over and over and over again. But there's a fire. There's something burning.
Well, it's in that moment. You're seeing, that's the thing. You see this because in that moment, something hit me. I was like, you know what? This isn't my belief. This isn't God. God doesn't want me to be sad or upset or miserable. This is making me sad. So this isn't God. So this doesn't stop me. So I immediately pulled out my phone and called the bank. Hey, I was on my way. I'm supposed to be there right now, but I'm in a wreck right out front. So if you actually come out of your building, look to the right, you'll see me, but I will be there. I promise. I'm still coming. Mm-hmm. Like, are you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'll be there in a minute. My lawyer calls me. We get all that stuff done. I have the wrecker or the tow truck drop me off at the bank. He was nice enough. He goes, I'm really not supposed to do this, but he goes, I'll tell you. Like, thank you. So I got my bank papers. He drops me off. I don't know how I'm going to get out of there.
And which bank is this?
CFSB.
Okay. One of our good local banks.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Again, I want to keep it local. And so I go in, and I'm like, hey, I'm here to talk to the loan. Like, are you the guy in the wreck? I'm like, yes. Like, are you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Everything's fine. I just want to get this going. So I meet with the guys, and they're like, this sounds great. I feel like we can do this. This is it. It's going to work. And I was like, yes. This was on like a Friday. So I was like, all right. So come Monday, I go and I called, nothing happened. So Tuesday, I'm getting my hair cut, and he calls me while I'm getting my hair cut. And I'm like, this is it. This could be it. I could be getting Gold Rush. And I answer the phone, and they go, man, I'm sorry, we can't. He goes, we tried, but the upper people said no.
Underwriters.
The underwriters said, no, can't do it. Because, again, we're going during COVID.
Yeah.
Most restaurants were closing down. Can't do it. I'm like, but I've got collateral. Like, doesn't matter. They don't want it. I say, they're like, you know what? I'm sorry, but I hope you get it. Like, I really want you to get it. So even though they had to tell me no, they're still going. So that's 5. So I called some places across the country. No. I got pulled back the 3rd time to U.S. Bank and was talking to this woman, and she said, you know what? We can do it. She goes, I'm talking to the underwriter now. They said, if we get this, and this, by tonight, we can get it. I'm like, really? She's like, yes. So I bend over backwards. She calls me. She's pushing for it. we get it all done. Well, then the next day or two, I remember I was at another customer's house in Terminex in Reedland. He trains bomb dogs, like to do sniff out bombs, and it's phenomenal. Great. I love the people I met. My customers are amazing. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I've got the call. This is it. He's like, what? And I answer the phone. I'm like, hello. She's like, hey, Korey. She goes, are you sitting down? I'm like, yeah. So I sit down on the back porch with this guy, and she's like, I'm sorry. They said no. I
thought this was finally going to be
I
yes.
was like, are you serious? She's like, so I'm sitting down, and she goes, I'm sorry. And I'm like, what? She's like, they won't do it. She said, this is bullshit. She goes, this is stupid. She goes, I don't see why they can't do this. She goes, you know what? Screw them. She goes, I hope you get it. She goes, you know what? I'm going to be pulling for you. So I was like, okay. So I took my stuff to Independence Bank. Again, I kept rotating because it takes
you
a couple
have a
days.
well-rounded knowledge of the banks.
Oh, I do. All the banks. And I even call like Cigna and them. They just don't do those kind of loans.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I don't get upset. I mean, that's like getting mad at
You
McDonald's.
also don't take no for an answer. That's very clear.
Well, when I have a focus goal, I just go. Like I won't.
So Independence Bank, were
Talk
they
to
your
Independence.
yes?
I talked to them, and the loan officer actually was he was a board member with me on Families on the Spectrum. And so he's like, hey, so let's see what we can do. And I'm like, well, I got collateral. He's like, oh, we should be able to do this. He goes, it's your house and your stuff. You want to put it up and lose it, and the bank shouldn't say nothing. So he's like, let me work on it. So it took 4 or 5 days, and he called me. He's like, Korey, I remember I was at another customer's house for Terminex. Again, work at Terminex doing all this stuff. And I was at this customer's house. He's an ophthalmologist here. He was sitting in the driveway, and I get the call. He's like, they agreed. The bank said it's good. You got it. You got the loan.
Did you pass out?
I was like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God. So then I called my lawyer, and he's like, all right. He goes, I got everything written up. He apparently, because of the events, we had to do a public statement so everybody knew what was going on.
The situation.
Yes. And so my lawyer's like, all right, you are, no offense, you're a nobody. Okay. You work for Terminex. No one knows who you are. You have to build a name for yourself. He goes, you need to cut your hair. So like I said, I used to grow it out. And I used to have like 5 o'clock shadows, like shave your face. You're a no one.
So it gives you some good business advice.
Yes, and that's what it did. So, and actually,
So I just want to know, because with business and trying to help entrepreneurs who are getting these no's, how much time was there in between I don't know how many banks you went through? 10?
2 weeks.
8? I mean,
2 weeks.
So 2 weeks.
2
2 weeks
weeks.
of no's and not getting defeated.
and get wrecked in my vehicle.
And what? Oh, yeah.
And just, I didn't stop. And the thing that kept going in the back of my mind was Gold Rush was created by Charles Medley and his wife. Forgive me for not remembering her name. I just remember Charles because it was on all the paperwork and stuff. His wife and their siblings, they created Gold Rush in 1999. And they've owned it from 99 until 2011 when they sold it to him. And then I bought it in 2020. So we only had it for 9 years.
Right.
So I was honoring the Medleys because it's been here forever. So many people love it. And so it had to stay. And so I went to...
So now you're the new owner.
I changed the logo.
Gold Rush, you did.
New owner.
I love this. This makes so much more sense. I get the axe because I get that, but it didn't make sense for the restaurant.
Exactly.
I love what you did there.
Because you could tell it's like, okay, there's a fork. All right, so since we have a
Yeah,
fork and spoon,
makes so
we're
much
eating
sense.
breakfast and got the sun coming up. Like,
And Paducah's response was?
not good.
What did Paducah do? Stay tuned to find out. The second part of Korey's story will come out on September 25th. Thank you for joining us. This has been a Collab-Works media production.